Okay, so we're going to look at the past simple and the past perfect. Okay, so number one, look at the sentences about white teeth. In each sentence, underline the event in bold which happened first. Okay, so for example, in number one, it says, Samad put his son on a plane to India and then told his wife. So, did he first put his son on a plane to India and then tell his wife? Or did he first tell his wife and then put his son on a plane to India? So the action that happened first, underline it. Okay, so pause the video and take a minute or two to do that, and then we'll check together. Okay, how did you do? So number one, first, right, he put his son on a plane to India and then told his wife. So we have two actions in the past simple, right? So they happened in chronological order. So the first action in the text there is put his son on a plane to India. So that happened first, and then the second action in the past simple, he told his wife, that happened next. Okay, number two. Okay, so here Alsana didn't answer her husband. She had decided to punish him. That underlined event is the past perfect, and that happened first, right? Before the other action, which is the past simple. Alsana didn't answer her husband. Number three, okay, so when the son came back home, he had changed and Sama was disappointed. So that means that first the son changed, that action is in the past perfect, and then after that he came back home. That's the past simple. Okay, so now number two, complete the rules. Alsana had decided to stop speaking directly to her husband. Okay, so look at that sentence and complete the rules. We form the past perfect with is it has or had and a past participle, and we use the past perfect to talk about an event in the past that happened before or after another event or a specific time in the past. Pause the video, take 1 minute to think about which of those options is correct, and we'll check together. Okay, ready? So we form the past perfect with had and a past participle, right? So you can see, for example, Alsana had decided to stop speaking directly to her husband, or he had changed and Sama was disappointed. Okay, and the second rule, so we use the past perfect to talk about an event in the past that happened before another event or specific time in the past. So again, if you take the example of number two, had changed, she had decided to punish him. That happened before another action in the past, which was that she didn't answer her husband, right? That is in the past simple. Okay. Okay, and we can visualize this on a timeline. Look at this example. He went to the cinema when he had finished his homework. Okay, so if you look at the timeline here, we've got the past here and the present here, right? So the past perfect action, he had finished his homework, is further back in the past. That action happened first in the past, and the past simple action happened after that, after the past perfect action. He went to the cinema. Okay, and this is the form of the past perfect. Okay, so affirmative, subject, I, you, he, she, it, we, they, then the auxiliary had, right? Or you can use a contraction. So I'd, you'd, he'd, she'd, it'd, we'd, or they'd. And then the past participle, read the book, for example. Negative, the same, but remember to add not after had. Right, so had not or contraction hadn't, and then the past participle, read the book. for example. And in a question, you just have to remember to invert, so put the auxiliary first before the subject, right? That contrasts with the affirmative and negative, right? So where you have the subject first and then the auxiliary had, right? Okay, so had, subject, and then the past participle. Okay, so time to test you a little. So a little practice, right? Complete the sentences with the correct form of the verbs in brackets. Use the past simple for one verb and the past perfect for the other. Okay, so number one, we're going to do together as an example. It says she move out in brackets of the house because she argue in brackets with her parents. Okay, so think logically. What happened first? Did she first move out and then argue? That's not so logical, right? Did she first argue and then move out? That's more logical, right? So she moved out as a consequence of arguing, right? So, right, so that argue has to be past perfect and move out is past simple, right? So she moved out of the house because she had argued with her parents, right? So she had argued, that's first in the past, and then after that in the past, she moved out as a consequence, okay? So do the same for 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause the video, take 5 minutes to do that, and then play the video again and we'll check together. Okay, how did you do? So, number 2, when the son had finished his studies, the family went to another country. So that means first the son finished his studies and then the family went to another country. Okay. Number 3, the two brothers stopped talking to each other because they had fallen out over some money, right? So that means first they fell out and then as a consequence they stopped talking to each other. Okay. 4, the children visited their grandmother when she had returned from hospital. Okay, so first she returned from hospital in the past, and then after that in the past, the children visited her. Okay, and finally, 5, she refused to answer his calls because he had lied to her. Right, so what happened first? He lied to her, right? And as a consequence, after that, she refused to answer his calls. Okay, so there you go. That's how we use the past perfect and the past simple. Okay, and see you next time.